So I'm sure some of you guys probably picked this up in the first video. If you're changing the entire strut, of course, there's no requirement to remove the top side of this link if it's giving you any grief, right? Just leave it, take it out with the whole strut. I should have mentioned that in the previous segment.
Maybe actually went with the door open today. So is this any good? Complete strut assembly, FCS.
There's the part number. This is for the right hand side.
It's for the hatchback model, guys.
There is a difference in the struts if you get the sedan model. Anyway, so just again on the initial look, I'm well impressed. This is only $100, guys, right? Short story. My son broke a spring on his car a while back. I had to get springs from Suzuki because I couldn't get any aftermarket springs. I'm not saying they're not out there. I'm saying I couldn't find them. So the set of springs ended up costing me like $225, $250 for the springs alone, and then I had to buy struts, which were like another $125. This entire assembly is like $94. Add tax and shipping on top of that, yeah. But the point is, it is really quite an economical way to go. And I was expecting, you know, quite a bit of bastardization in the appearance of the part. And well, if it is there, I don't really see it. It looks pretty good to me. Can you see what I was talking about with the spring here? See how the spring is broken? See how it's lifting off the saddle right away? There is, what, 3/4 of a turn? More than that, like 80% of the bottom coil is sitting on the saddle. That's what I was talking about. There's an outboard stamping. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Can you see it? There it is. Yeah, right there. Telling you how you orient in the strut. There is a similar stamping, I believe, on the crown cap on the OEM part, but long since disappeared in the corrosion, of course. Yeah, so on the initial look, even the cap, although slightly different in appearance, appears to be virtually identical. Dimensionally, you know, a wee bit different in the rubber and stuff, but fit, form, and function appears to be the same. Yeah, so I guess the ride quality, I wouldn't expect the OEM ride quality as a fraction of the price, right? But again, fit, form, and function appears to be okay. I guess the proof will be in the pudding. Again, there's the part number, and I believe the left hand side is just the same number with an L. Let's just verify that. Sorry, the box is a wee bit damaged, but yeah, appears to be just this 3371 1L. 3371 1L. 1R in this case, of course, yeah. So again, only the hatchback models, guys. Let's see if it's any good. Okay, Ronnie, all right, take it easy. Take 5. So back to the strut here. Look at the condition of those springs there, guys, right? Look at the amount of corrosion on them. If you're changing just the strut, can you confidently say when you put your spring compressor on that nothing's going to happen? Keeping in mind that they both broke from the bottom here. I don't think so, right? So even with the safest of spring compressors, there's always going to be some risk. That's the beauty of this rig here, in my opinion. Even if it was a bit more money, there is rationale to buying the complete strut assembly. Namely, you don't need to deal with the spring and rebuild it, right? Again, a lot of this stuff is likely geared towards the DIYer like myself, guys, right? I'm not a professional mechanic, full disclosure. Just a guy in his garage trying to do the best he can. Yeah, FCS, do yourself a favor, as the top of the strut rod tends to poke through the box, put the nut on it so that when this gets shipped around that the threads don't get damaged. Just a suggestion. So of a great assistance to you will be these box end offset wrenches, guys. I've mentioned these before. These are cheap rubbish, just drop forged Chinese garbage. They're not even branded. I've had them for decades. I've mentioned these before, but these have got me out of a pinch on more than one occasion. You know, when you need to drop down inside something, these are awesome. And of course you have to hold it with the in the center. The damper rod itself needs to be held with a 6mm hex, and or Allen if you wish, and held in this nature here, so it's perfect for this type of thing. Be aware, guys, the OEM not on the top of the strut is a 17, but the aftermarket nylock is actually a 19. So you'll need these two wrenches ideally. Yeah, you could probably work something else, but those are ideal. Just snug this up, tighten this up, hand tight, you know, temporarily, because the weight needs to be on the wheels, so it compresses the rubber isolator and bearing assembly, the bearing stack. Otherwise, if you don't have torque this with a weight on the wheels, you're gonna have a squeak. Ask me how I know. Okay, you may have noticed when I was talking about torquing this that I've actually put the old cap back on, just because this is a bit more self-centering on the tower here. As you can see here, this is just got little elevated portions of rubber. There's no self-centering mechanism to this cap, so I thought the OEM cap would probably be better. And also the contact of the rubber on the tower is a greater surface area, so I thought the OEM option was the best. If you look at the height on the threads there, they're pretty close. The damper rod itself, the threaded portion of the top here, is well within safety, so that's good. Okay, with respect to the tie rod, I was just threading the tie rod in here to make sure the thread pitch is correct. I believe these come in 2 different pitches, the thread pitch, guys. I've never had an issue with it, but I see some listings for different thread pitches, coarse and fine. So if you guys recall, when I removed this inner tie rod, there was no lock washer on it, right? The keys into the rack and you bend it over like some. There's a difference between the electrical power steering type, which does have the log washer, and the hydraulic power steering type. You can see the lines there. That is the type that is on, as far as I know, all Canadian and American cars, and that's actually not required. If you see item 20 there, although it looks like the same part as item 2 on the drawing there, it is not. That's actually just a spacer. Item 20 there is not a log washer, not required on the hydraulic installation. So when it comes to the inner clamp on the boot there, guys, there's no reason you can't reuse that clamp if you just gingerly spread it, you know, with the appropriate size screwdriver. And then when it comes time to putting it back on, you have a cheap pair of cutters like this. In this case, it's handy that they're crap cutters, because you don't want to cut the clamp, of course, right? But a long reach actually allows you to get back in there and essentially re-crimp the clamp. It's solid, it's not going anywhere. That's fine. So this was never meant to be a review of this product there, guys. I showed you all the manufacturer details, part numbers, the name of the manufacturer. But I'll tell you, It fits like a glove. Make sure you get the correct one. Again, between the hatchback and the sedan, there is a difference in the part numbers, different strut assembly. Everything seems fine. Yeah, everything's back together here. I showed you really all the details. This is not a strut or, you know, front end component replacement video, guys. I've done those in the past with excruciating detail. I've left this, of course, loose. I've just counted the turns. You count the turns when you remove it, count the turns when you put it back on for a gross adjustment. When I get the car back on its wheels, I'll fine-tune the rough adjustment of the alignment. Of course, it'll have to go to the rack to get it properly aligned. But yeah, that's it. All back together, and everything seems to fit with the aftermarket complete strut assembly. I'm happy with that. Look at the difference in the static ride height. See that? That's probably 2.5 inches to the cross member there. Maybe a wee bit more. I could barely get my floor jack in all the way down position. This car is raised 2.5 inches easy in the front end with those new struts. Yeah, I know. Well, won't be the first time I'll be accused of being the torque police here. The nuts for the wiper arms. 14.5, 15 foot-pounds. You might scoff at the notion of torquing a wiper arm. Do you want to be the one responsible for that coming adrift in a downpour at night? I don't. This is fun. Yeah, that'll do. That bucket light is out. That marker light is out. That marker light is out. Plate lights are good. I know the headlights work because I checked them earlier, in earlier videos. I mean, signals. Oh, let's just look at the headlights. Low beam, high beam. Very nice. Left. That's good. Right. You can see the reflection up there. And the back. Okay. So bucket light and a couple of marker lights. That's good. Okay, I guess we can turn the wipers off. It's all good. Car needs to be taken for a short test drive in order to get rid of the traction control and ABS. You cannot clear it with a scan tool. It needs a confidence check, a drive for that. That typically goes out in half a kilometer or whatever. Wow, I have never seen this before. Factory sunroof in an SX4. Incredible. Well, not really incredible, but certainly pretty rare. I've never seen one. Wow. Never even noticed that. Nice. I'm not touching the buttons. I'm not pushing my luck. Well, that's it for this car, guys. I've mentioned the brake line before. I've decided to let the owner take that to the garage because of the liability involved with the brake line. Yeah, I could probably change the line, but I've decided, you know what, sometimes it's best to there's professional mechanics for a reason, right? They've probably done 1,000 flares. I'm going to leave that to them. It feels like a wee bit of a cop out for me, but I just think it's the wise thing to do, certainly from my perspective. And that's it for this car, guys. It's all back together. I'll be returning it to the owner in the next day or two. And again, he can take it and deal with the brake line. He's going to need to get the front end aligned, deal with a couple of little exterior lights that are an issue, and hopefully it'll be okay for the safety. I'll update you at some point in time in the future. If you've made it through all the bits and pieces, or even if you haven't, it doesn't matter. Thanks for watching. Cheers.